Hello, this is Justin, and I'm going to be talking about some philosophical ideas of mine, some philosophical beliefs that I happen to have, and, try to explain things. I like to try to explain things. I don't know why. Maybe I feel like I'm the only one that gets it, and nobody else out there fucking gets it. And maybe I feel a little overwhelmed by the amount of people that are trying to tell me that I have to do things this way, or I have to do things this way, or, maybe I'm feeling overwhelmed by all the people who are trying to tell me that no, my philosophical beliefs are not correct. It's theirs that are correct. I'm totally mistaken. These ideals. Let me go from the start here, alright? When I was very young, just like everybody has to, eventually. When I was very young, I had to come up with a choice. And I think we all have to make this choice at a very young age, which is sad, sort of. But it's true, and you can't fucking deny it. Well, you can, but you shouldn't. Because if you deny it, then you're denying that you did make a choice, because we all made a choice. And, that choice ended up defining who we were in a lot of ways. So, to deny that you even made the choice is absolutely fucking ridiculous. But I digress, because I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just saying there are people out there like that, And I don't get it. Because when I was a kid, when I was young, and I was depressed, and I was blah, 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 there was always one thing that stuck with me, and that's that everyone who really cared about me said that all I had to do was be myself, which brought me to the journey of trying to define who I was as a person. It made me think long and hard and spend days just laying awake in bed, just wondering, who am I? What defines me as a human being? What characteristics are there of mine that are me and not everybody else? What is it that makes me who I am? And eventually I came to the decision that yes, I do have to be who I am. And I can't be anything that everybody else wants me to be. Even as I grow older and older and older, I get more and more people just fed up that I won't be who they want me to be. I'll only be me. And I'm sorry to disappoint them. And I know some of you are probably saying, oh, you're talking about me. No, I'm just saying this in general. I'm not even talking about anything or anybody right now. I'm honestly, literally coming at this from a philosophical point of view here. When we were young, we had to make a decision, and that decision was, do we want to be who we really are inside, or do we want to be socially accepted? Which means, do we want to be who they want us to be, alright? Because you have to decide, do you want to do what all these other kids are telling you to do, or what all these other kids are being told to tell you what to do, or do you want to be who all your teachers define you as what you should be? When you're at that age, you're being fed a lot of information. You're very curious about the world around you. You're wondering about all this stuff in this world, and you're wondering what it all means, and it's like, it's a defining age, or at least it was for me, Um, because I was there, curious and searching for meaning, and I was just wondering about all this stuff and just, trying to figure out what it all meant. And I realized that our society, this human society, is comforted by a norm, a social norm, which means a set of values or a set of, structures that each person or each individual follows. And while some of these things, it's easy to understand why you should follow them because it's only common decency, and even saying common decency is denoting that, it's common, which means that, that's a means of saying that it's a part of this societal influence. But what I'm trying to say here is that, regardless of that societal influence, there becomes a point where it doesn't just become what's for the best of everyone. It goes beyond that and says, what is what people expect? What is what people want from you rather than what they need from you? People need to know that you're going to, in at least that some people out there are going to be polite about some things, You need to know that not everyone out there is an asshole, which is comforting, these comforting ideals. But then it gets to the point where people are naturally greedy. Human beings are naturally greedy fucking human beings. Greedy creatures. Greedy is all fuck. Look at the world we live in right now. Of course we're fucking greedy. And it's not just about money, it's about everything. We are greedy for everything. We are greedy to have things exactly the way we want them. And so you get a bunch of influences when you're young based on exactly that. Based on these ideals that people have for you, based on what makes them personally comfortable. And what's interesting is that a large amount of people are comforted by the same types of things. So what I'm saying here is that you've got your social norms and then you've got your social unnorms here, which are normal forms of social norms, but they're completely and totally out of the context of what's needed, and they go into the context of what's desired. And it's messed up, but in this social order that we have in this world, in this country at the very least, it's messed up, but at a very young age, you have to ask yourself, are you going to be a part of these social norms and be what they want you to be so that you will be accepted and that people will like you, which is so comforting at that age. It's so comforting to know that somebody is going to like you for any reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Just the fact that they're going to like you and they're going to stick up for you and they're going to be a good person to you and a good friend, and you're going to have somebody to reach out to who's going to reach out to you back. But I think what people find out in the end is that people like that end up to be hollow friends because the reason they wanted you to be the way they wanted you to be was for selfish, greedy reasons. And once they're done getting what they wanted out of you, they're done with you. Because that's all you were to them. And I saw that at a very young age. I saw people getting let down by this ridiculous ideal of a social norm, and I saw that and I said, you know what? I like being treated right. I like being treated socially correctly, fairly. I like being treated fairly. I like being treated like a human being. I like being treated like I am, not special, but like I am who I am, and that's okay. And so I made that decision to be who I am, Not to be what everybody else wanted me to be, but to be who I really was. And it took a lot of soul searching to find out who I really was inside. And I searched my soul for fucking hours and hours and hours and hours on end. And I'm telling you now that by the time I was a teenager, I had already figured it out. I already knew who I was. And I've known who I am since that date, and I haven't tried to be anything else but that person. Of course, as with anybody, it doesn't matter what the social norms are or not, what people are expecting of you or not. Everybody has their own challenges to deal with on a day in, day out basis, whether it be health based, mentally based, or otherwise. I, of course, have social anxiety disorder, and I don't make excuses for it, although some people are of the opinion that I do, because they don't seem to understand it that well. Well, all I can tell them, honestly, is to look it up and see what it's like, and read about it and find out for yourself what it's really like. And honestly, it's one of those things that you can't understand unless you've had it or you've been around people who had it. And, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make here is that everybody has their challenges, and, in a way our challenges make us who we are. In large part. They don't define who we are, but they definitely help. They are there for you. They are there with you for life. They aren't a negative aspect necessarily. I mean, they can be a negative aspect, and usually they are a negative aspect. But what you fail to realize most of the time is that those things that are the most negative you could think of, the most negative aspects you could think of about your personality and about yourself as a human being, are also your greatest fucking assets. Alright? They're the things that make you who you are. They are the things that define the way you act. So you can't deny that you have them. You can't deny that they're there. You can't act like they're not there to ease others' minds. You can't pretend to be something that you're not. Alright? And it's not easy for anyone. It gets easy to be able to tell what your what the issue is, because it's not really a problem. It's just that it's something that you have to deal with as a human being, Everybody has their own challenges, and they have to deal with that. And the better you understand what that part of you that makes you so much of what you are, then the better you can comprehend how to handle that when it does become a negative issue and a negative impact in your life. And that way you can take the negative out of it and keep it remaining almost entirely positive. And that is something I think everybody should aspire to do. I don't think people should be denying who they are. I don't think they should be denying these aspects of themselves that are very much who they are. And I think people just inherently, because of our societal norms and shit, they deny up and down every aspect of themselves that our society doesn't like about them. Well, you know what? I never did that, because I never gave a shit about what society thought about me, because I liked me. Contrary to what my fucking teachers and what my fucking psychiatrists and what my fucking idiotic doctors would tell me, I did have shitloads of self-confidence. I still have shitloads of self-confidence, because I will never stop liking me. I will never deny the fact that I love who I am as a human being. I love myself, alright? I fucking love who I am. Because unlike a million other people on this planet, in this specific country alone, unlike hundreds of millions of people in this country alone, I am one of the few who has decided to just be who I am. To not let society define who I am, but to define who I am by myself, and not to deny those aspects of myself that also help to define who I am. There's a lot that goes into defining who you are, and it is absolute folly. It is absolute ridiculousness to suggest that you are simple or simplistic, because there is no simplistic human being out there. If you think you're simplistic, then you have bottled yourself up inside to be what everybody else wants you to be. And maybe I'm being too drastic and too unfair on the issue. Maybe I'm not seeing through to the fact that maybe you have accepted some parts of who you are, or maybe you're not bottling yourself up entirely. But to all the people who are and are denying it up and down, just stop. Because I never thought I had a talent. Because I was never talented at much of anything in life. And I'm a regular average Joe Schmo at pretty much everything that I have high aspects in. I admit it, while I like to aspire to be a good writer, I'm just a halfway decent writer, really. I admit that. While I aspire that I like, other things like geography and sociology, which I'm talking about here, I'm just an average Joe Schmo in those things too. But I'll tell you what I'm not an average Joe Schmo in. I have an incredible gift that it took me a long time to realize that I have this gift. But the friends that I had that stuck with me through the years made me see this gift that I have. And my gift is that I can see the best in people. And I can see that what everybody wants to believe in is absolutely true. Because everybody wants to believe that there's a little bit of good in everybody. I have that gift to be able to see the good in everybody. There are no bad people. There are only bad choices. It's true. It's not just an Aesop. It's not just something that, some philosophy, some guy bent on his own philosophies here is telling you. No. I'm telling you I know for a fact that it's true, because I can see that little light in everybody. In the most despicable people out there, I can see that they've buried it deep inside of themselves because they're insecure, or there are billions of different reasons why people do that. They're hurting, they're upset about something, they don't feel that anyone understands them. Humans are a greedy and cruel race, but they are also capable of the greatest and most divine love that you could ever imagine. And there is that spark in everybody. I know because I've seen it, because that's my great gift. I can see that spark in everybody. And I know some of you are saying, this guy is fucking out of his mind. Think what you want. I can see what I see, and I will not deny what I see. Alright? I will not deny the goodness that I find in people. I will not deny that, my gift is brought to me in the form that, because I've decided to be who I am and not somebody else, people are interested in that, I think. I don't know. But the interesting aspect of that is that I seem to attract a lot of friends who are from a lot of different areas in the social realm, In school, I was always, able to have friends who were in the popular group and in the goth group and in the, totally unpopular group, all these different groups. There was always somebody in each group who at least, could show me who they were as a person, And, you know, regardless of the fact that I believe that has more to do with the fact that they also chose to be themselves while still trying to fit in a little bit, I think that it's probably human nature to want to fit in a little bit. But I never really did want to, because I just wanted to be accepted for who I was. Because I like who I am. I fucking love who I am. And I don't see any reason why anybody should not accept me for who I am. So, if they're not going to accept me for who I am, that's their problem. That's their issue. I have no control over that. But, I feel fortunate to have been given this gift, because I never thought I had any special talents or any special gifts, but now that I see that this is my gift, that I can see this special part of everybody, I'm grateful for it. The problem is that all these people that are such great people inside make all these bad choices even when you don't want them to, even when you're begging them not to, when you're trying to explain to them that, they don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to worry about yourself and figuring out who you are and being who you are. You have to do that first before you can ever try to reach out to anybody else. Because if you do try to reach out to somebody else without knowing who you are inside first, chances are greater than not that you're going to let them down. And maybe, if they're in the same boat, that they're going to let you down. But this means that I get to try and reach out to a great deal of people who are not ready, I guess, to accept the fact that they are their own human being, that they don't have to fit in, that they don't have to be anything special for me. I accept them for who they are because that's what I want in return. I want to be accepted for who I am. And I'm thankful that there are a lot of people out there that do accept me for who I am. But there's also a lot of people out there that have no idea what I'm all about. And that's good too. I mean, this is humanity. It's chaotic in nature. I understand that. I get it. I mean, nothing is going to work out perfectly. There is no perfect. You can't have everything you want in life, and that's totally fine. But that brings me to my question. I'm having such a hard time letting go of this one person, this one really great person that I love to death. Because I know that eventually I'm going to have to let go, because probably more often than not, she wants me to let go. And she wants me to just accept that we can't be what I wish we could be. Even though I really, truly, in my heart believe we could be. Because honestly, I don't know. I've never loved anyone this much. And it's like, it's irresponsible. It's ridiculous. It's, it doesn't make any sense. It's not, something that I would have expected, definitely. And it's damn near creepy. I understand that. I get it. I get that it's freaking creepy as hell that I am so into this girl, that I am so in love with her that I can't let her go. But for the life of me, I can't, because, God, I am that attached. I'm sorry. I am that attached. I have found that special little bead inside of her and decided that this is the supreme fucking being. This is the person. This is the special part of a person. And it's at just the right stage, and it's just, you know, when it blooms, it's magnificent. And it's just, you know, perhaps I'm also, in this, I am very, very, very greedy, all right? And selfish, because I don't want to let go of something that is so kind and generous and caring and understanding, and you know, it's more than, you know, just attraction to me. It's freaking, you know, I just can't let it go, because it's like, this is somebody who, whether or not they get me, it doesn't matter to them, because they can kind of see inside of me and see that I'm a good person, and see that I, you know, have these ambitions, and that I do love myself, and that, you know, deep down inside I am a very well-rounded person, regardless of my personality flaws, which are obvious. I mean, I've always wanted somebody who could understand me. I've been looking for somebody who could understand me. And when I told her that I was looking for somebody who could understand me in that special way that only she could, that only I had ever found in her, what I meant was that she doesn't care who you are, or where you're from, or what your situation in life is. That she's equally brilliant to everybody that she meets. She's just a great person in that way. And that it's not about being who everybody wants her to be. It's not about being anything but herself. And what she is somebody who accepts and understands that people are different, but they're all generally good people. Like me, you know? Haven't you ever haven't you ever found somebody in life that you had this one particular fucking thing in common with, that was like this great bond to you, that was like this great thing to you, that was like, you know, this is something that is like deep in the core of who we are as people, as human beings, the two of us. This is something in the two of us that we are deep in the core of who we are. That's not only similar, it's exactly the same. And haven't you ever wanted to find that kind of thing in somebody else? And if you haven't, think about what you would do if you did, and then think about, would you want to let that go? Yeah, it's hard for me to let it go. I don't want to let it go. Ah. But at the same time, it's like, you have to. Fucking great human tragedy. And you'll never be the same. You'll be changed forever by this. And that's crazy, because there's so much you still didn't know, you know? And it doesn't matter what it is that you didn't know. The fact is that there's still so much you never learned. You know a lot about this person, but there's so much you'll never know. And that's what hurts. And that's what makes it so hard to let go. Well, it's one of the things that makes it so hard to let go. But like I said, I mean, you gotta let go. Because, you know, you've got to accept that she's going to move on, and you're going to have to move on. And, you know, that's life. And I get it. You know, I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem with that, you know? I can do that. I'm fine with that. I accept that. I totally accept it. I just don't want to because I've found something great that I don't want to let go because this isn't something you find every day, Especially not someone like me who looks deep inside everybody he can find without them even knowing it, which is selfish and greedy and unfair, I guess. But I really do. I try to learn the most I can about people from observation, from listening, from understanding what they're all about. And when I say listening, I don't mean remembering every word they said. I mean remembering the way they said it, remembering the way they do things, the way they do business, the way they are as human beings, That's what's important to me. Words, dates, numbers, fuck all that shit. What's important to me is who you are as a human being, and I can find out more about that just from observing you and having the pleasure of getting to know you. And when I get that pleasure of getting to know you, makes me feel really good. That's what I like to do. That's what I love to do because, I think that's what we're here for, honestly. We're not here to take, a 40-hour-a-week job. I was going to say 24/7, crazy. But anyways, we're not here to take a 40-hour-a-week job and, make money and, live the capitalist dream. We're not here to fuck like wild rabbits. We're not here to be anything more than human beings, and I think that our natural instinct serves us well, but not well enough. It serves us negatively more than it does positively, and I believe that just like everything else I've been saying here, just like everything else, you can take that negative and turn it into a fucking positive. I just think that it's up to everybody out there to do that. John Lennon was right. It's just that nobody understood what the fuck he was saying. Because it's not up to everybody. It's not up to everybody. It's up to you. It's up to one person. Because every one person makes up everybody. It takes every one person deciding to take their negatives and turn them into positives before all the negatives in society and in the human race will turn into positives. That's why things are so negative. Because you're in the negative. Because so many human beings are in the negative. Because they don't get it. Because they're not trying to be who they are. They're trying to be something they're not. And they're not accepting facets of their personality. They're denying it because they don't like it. Or because they think other people won't like it. Or God knows what they're thinking. You think I messed up? Bottom line is I started this video because I had to get some shit off my chest. And I've been thinking about this girl and why in the world I can't just let go because I want to, because it's what she wants. I can tell that. I know. I fucking know, okay? I know. But, it's not that easy. As I think I've explained so far in this video, there's that aspect of her that is not easy to let go of. And that's what I think this whole video was about for me, is just trying to figure out what it is that I can't let go of, explaining it, speaking it so that I can hear it and understand it myself. Because sometimes just thinking about stuff doesn't work for me. I have to say it out loud and hear it and understand it, like, why can't I be happy? Well, the reason I can't be happy right now is because the person that makes me happy doesn't want to be with me. And there's shitloads more fish in the sea, but like I've said before, I know there's this great part in everybody, but how many of those little fishies have the great part that she has? You know, how many of those little fishies are like me, and, you know, even if they can't see that, you know, that this is what society is like and everything, they at least see that they are who they are, and they just want to be accepted, and so they accept everybody else for who they are, regardless, you know. But the thing is, I've never met anybody else like that. Everybody has standards. Everybody has, you know, walls built up around themselves. All these people have all these walls built up around themselves, keeping certain people out because they're not good for you. How do you know what's good for you? And I'm not defending myself. I'm defending the assholes here. I'm defending every asshole out there that ever made you feel like shit, because I have to ask you, why can't you take that negative and turn it into a positive? Why can't you realize that their negative attitude has no consequence on you? None! All it means is that you have to take that negative aspect and turn it into a positive. You have to figure out why they're so negative. You have to learn more about these people and what makes them tick. And when you learn more about that, you learn more about people, and you learn more about how you should treat people. And so, thusly, them being negative to you turns into a positive for you because you learn how to be a good person out of it. It's not a bad thing. Bad people are not a bad thing. They just make bad choices. There are no real bad people. There are only people who make bad choices. And they have to learn from them, but they won't always learn from them. But the end of the line, the end of fucking discussion here, is that you have to learn from them too. Everything that everyone else does out there, you don't have to go and follow everybody around and observe everybody, because, you know, nobody can. We aren't here for long enough to do that. But if you really want to live, if you want to live and be alive and have a life and really be alive and really be who you are and understand who you are and understand what makes a human being and what makes a good human being and how to be a better human being. If you want to understand that, you have to take all of these things that you see and all of these things that you hear from everybody you've ever met and from all the things that you see in life and, you know, and things created by life and all that. You have to take it all and you have to find out what it means to you. And you have to dissect it. And you have to figure out, like in that case, if somebody was mean to you, why were they mean to you? What caused them to be mean to you? How can you turn that negative into a positive? If there's a negative in your life, you have to figure out how to turn it into a positive by dissecting it and figuring out what makes it tick. Or sometimes you can't figure out what makes it tick. You just have to, you know, keep working at it and keep studying that kind of, you know, those things that you don't understand. And I'm not saying this to be cruel, because I know it sounds like studying human beings would be cruel, but no. That's what we do naturally. That's just what we do. Human beings have always studied life. it's a natural, I think, a natural instinct for us to study life. And if that's the case, why can't we just accept to study ourselves? Because that's how you become a better person. That's how you achieve peace at heart, at mind, at soul, at world. That's how you achieve peace. Inner peace, outer peace, doesn't matter. That's how you figure out how to be a good human being. And figuring out how to be a good human being to me is the answer to life. Because if you can figure out how to be a good human being, then you've got all the answers. Nobody ever gets all the answers, and that's the great tragedy of life. I'm an old soul, I get it. I'm an old soul, I get it. But I don't see myself as better than anyone. I'm not trying to say that I am. Although I'm sure few people will take it that way because life is chaotic. People take things way out of context when it's not meant to be taken out of context. It's just, wow. You know, it's like I finally understand what it means when they say you find a soulmate. But what if your soulmate doesn't really like you? What if your soulmate isn't ready to be with you and for all you know just doesn't want to be with you at all, period, you know? Clearly, I have a lot left to learn. I wonder if anybody ever really gets it all in the end. Whether when we die we inhabit a new life or not, you know? I doubt that our purpose here is to get it all, but I think it's a worthy effort, you know, to at least attempt to learn as much as we can while we're here. And human knowledge doesn't have to be defined by what's in a book. And it never has been for me. You know, human knowledge for me was more defined by what I observed, by what I could see and touch and feel and know. The difference between knowledge and accepted fact is that knowledge is something that you can know with all of your being, and accepted fact is just something you accept. I like knowledge better. But anyways, I'm at the 44-minute mark, and I doubt anybody's going to watch this long. Well, I'm sure a few will, but yeah. I almost don't want to put it up because it's a natural human response not to, you know, want to be, you know, heckled or, you know, misunderstood, especially for me in my case. I have a really huge problem with being misunderstood, and if you don't understand why, again, I encourage you to look up social anxiety disorder and some of the things it causes, because that's one of them. Wow. Again, I'm using it for an excuse. No, I'm just accepting who I am, alright? I deal with it. It's fine. And the fact that I'm going to post this up anyway should tell you something. Yeah, I am afraid of being misunderstood, but I don't give a shit, because I know that for every one person that misunderstands me, there's got to be somebody out there that does. You know, maybe they don't understand me entirely, because I doubt any one person could fully understand another person unless they spent their whole lives with them, which is what I really think love is all about. But, yeah. I mean, judgment is so hard for me to pass because you can't judge what you don't understand, in my opinion. And we don't understand a shitload. In fact, we could try to understand one thing and keep learning more about it our whole entire lives, and we'd never understand it fully, because the fact is, the fact that we're learning more and more about it each and every day tells you that it's a never-ending, sequence. It's not something that ends. What we're learning doesn't end. It keeps going and going and going. So you never fully understand it, and so you can never really judge it. Huh. But anyways, these are the philosophical ramblings of a man who has fallen in love with someone who does not love him back and is trying to figure out where to go from here and how to fucking get there. Because I'm at a crossroads here, and there's a few different fucking paths that I can take. By a few, I mean fucking dozen. At least a half dozen. So it's just like, both in life and in philosophy, I have all these paths I can take, and it's just, I don't know where to go next. And I don't want to leave where I am right now because I don't want to be changed for the worse, And that is my biggest fucking fear. That's probably one of the bigger reasons why I don't want to let go. Because I fear that when I let go, I'll have changed, something about me will have changed so much, so dramatically, so drastically, that I'll never be the same. And if I'm never the same, then, it's like I spent so long learning to love who I was and, be who I was. But I guess what I didn't see the whole time around while I was just kind of standing there was that life is constantly moving. The sequence never ends. So if it never ends, then why am I just fucking sitting there? I should be never ending with it, shouldn't I? I don't know. I have a desire not to change, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Because I don't want to change. I want to be who I am, I don't think that who I am is a bad thing. But, I guess everybody has to change somehow, every now and then. I guess I just have to ensure that that change is not negative but positive, which I'm probably naturally astute to trying to do, because it appears as though, now that I think about it, I've been making some bad choices and some good choices on that path in particular. Maybe I just didn't want to accept that I was changing this whole time, that I've always been changing, and that person I was when I was a kid is still there, He's just a little bit different. He'll never be gone. I'm always going to be who I was then. Just a little bit different all the time. Okay. Well, that's about all the mind-blowing that I can handle for one fucking night and 1 hour-long video. If you've stayed long enough to get to this point, then you've probably seen my overall, enlightenment, I guess. See, that's why you should talk about this shit to yourself. Talking to yourself ain't a bad thing. It's just, it's a way of figuring out all the shit that's running through your head at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Thanks for watching, and if you commented on my funky hairstyle, thank you for that too, because I'm tired and going nuts here. And I'm growing my hair out, and it gets all curly when it grows out, so yeah. I hope to be a better me in the morning. It's 6:45 in the morning. I hope to be a better me when I wake up. Good night morning thing. I'm going to bed.